Hello, guys. Welcome back. This is episode 26 of Ladies First. I am your host, Amber Vickers. Let me make sure my headphones are on. Hold on, guys. They're on. Okay, guys. I think my headphones are on. I hope they're on. When I go back watch this replay, I will see if they're on or not. But this is episode 26. Last week was episode 25. I made it through 25 episodes, now through 26 after this episode is done. Thank you guys for your support. I appreciate the love. Before I get started today, I want to tell you guys why I'm wearing this shirt before I get the promos and things like that out the way. Shout out to Michael. Michael, I lost a bet to Michael Lawson. Michael MD Lawson 00 is his name on Twitter. He has been my co-host on Count the Bucket on Saturday nights. I lost a bet to him. We made a bet on Count the Bucket, and I'm wearing my University of Kentucky t-shirt. Now, I might not want to be wearing this today because Kentucky lost Mississippi State in the SEC tournament, but I am upholding my bet because the players he picked for Team KD scored more points than the players I picked for Team LeBron. So I am wearing my shirt, honoring my bet. You will see this shirt in every episode for a month. So probably every episode until National Championship Week for NCAA, which is the first week of April. You will see this shirt until April 11th. So on every stream that I do, I have a stream with Count the Bucket this weekend. Have another stream for March Madness this Sunday. Every stream you see me on, I'll be wearing this beautiful, lovely Kentucky t-shirt that I bought off of Amazon. So congratulations to Michael. His team scored. The players he picked scored the most points. I just want to get that out the way. But I still have my Ladies First mug, so I'll show you guys that when I'm promoting and things like that. All right, let's get into these promos. rxhemp.com. Let me share my screen and show you guys this. We got rxhemp.com. Use the code rxhemp/USN to get 10% off of your order. We have cool and warm CBD cream and therapy for you guys with sore, achy muscles, you athletes out there, or if you're just starting your athletic journey and you're a little older, you might need this. Here's some celebrity believers, and it's made with all natural ingredients. So check out rxhemp.com. Use the code rxhemp/USN to get 10% off of your entire order. Oh, no, don't do that. Okay, here we go. All right, next up, we have mybookie.ag. We've got mybookie.ag. The March Madness bracket season is getting ready to start. I know Selection Sunday is this Sunday. Got a lot of conference tournaments and things going on this weekend and this week and happened last week for the women. So this is the sports book, guys. It's filled with stuff. Look at this, guys. You can bet on any and everything. NBA action is back. NHL. We got EuroLeague soccer, which is football. We have everything you can possibly want. They got MLB. They got NASCAR. They got Grammy Awards bets. Oh, my goodness. I didn't even know that. Wow. You can bet on the Grammys. I did not know that. You learn something new every day. But check out mybookie.ag. Use the code USN100 to double your first deposit. You can now bet on the Grammys. Amber did not know that. She learns something new every day. That's why you have to keep living for each day, because each day brings something new to the table. All right. The Patreon. I sent Perry my address, so I should be expecting my Keenan Allen jersey probably next week, hopefully. But when I get that jersey, I will show it to you guys, and I'm going to order a frame off of Amazon and put it in the back of every stream until I get tired of it, which will be never. So here it is, patreon.com/unwrappedsports. To become a fan, it's just $1 a month for general support. To become part of the family, it's $5 a month. You get 10% off of the Patreon on Teespring Shop, which I'm going to show you guys in a minute. And you get access to our Discord chat. We talk about everything. And then be VIP, $10 a month to be in the drawing for those jerseys. This month is David Montgomery's signed autographed jersey for the Chicago Bears. He did play for Iowa State. He was a Big 12 guy, so I cheer for him. So that is this month's giveaway, is the David Montgomery jersey. I'm not sure who won the $10 Amazon gift card. I don't think Perry's announced it yet, but you get 20% off the Patreon code for the Teespring shop. You also get access to the Discord chat as well. So the $5 a month and the $10 per month have the same type of perks, but in this $10 per month, you get put in the drawings for the Amazon gift cards and the whatever giveaway we have. Then you get the 20% off. So guys, go ahead and join that. We have a lot of fun in that Discord chat. A lot of betting going on right now in that Discord chat because of March Madness. And I'm not sure if I'm going to bet on March Madness because it's so unpredictable. We've already had some upsets here in conference tournaments. I'm going to tell you guys about that in just a minute, but it's just too unpredictable for me. I'm too competitive. I don't feel like chunking remotes across the room, so I'm just going to leave it at that. All right, the last thing I want to talk about is the shop. Teespring.com/store/unwrapped. Here it is, guys. We got our old school OG apparel here first. And then we have this. I have this sticker. And I have that hoodie in blue. It's like a bright, it's kind of this color blue that I have on this Kentucky shirt. I have some sweats from Unwrapped. They are white with gold. Have a bunch of LeBron fans in Unwrapped Sports Network. I have this sticker on the back of my computer, and I also have this hoodie in gray. All right. We got the hard count with CJ and Connie. We got the prop bros with Alex and Corey. Alex is no longer with us, but he's still in the Discord chat because he's a Patreon. We got fights with Monique and Alec. We got Generation Z. If you guys have not checked out the interview that Gen Z did with Trey Wingo, with Connie and Josh, go check that out. We got the Fourth Man Pod with Anthony. We got the People's XFL show with Garrett and Moose. We got Ladies First with me. You guys check that out. That's just beautiful, guys. I love the fro. All right, we got Saturday Standouts with Sam and Caleb. Backstop Banter with Michael and Connie. We got basketball, business casual basketball. Ooh, excuse me. And Aaron goes on 2 hours before I go on. We got that with Aaron, keeping it blunt with Perry and Caleb. Then we have a Bet's Unwrapped Ticket t-shirt. All right, guys, that's all the live lineups. They have all their own gear. So you guys go out there and support every live lineup that you can. Okay. All right. Here we go, guys. March Madness is here, and it's swinging with both fists. And I was going to do the All-Americans and the selections for the conferences, but I'm going to push that back till next week. So next week, I'll do All-American teams for men's and women's, and then I'll do conference selections as well. I don't know how much time I will have. I did it on Sportscaster last year, but on Sportscaster, I did a couple of videos a day. So there's a lot to get into with All-American teams. All-American teams aren't that bad. I think you have first, second, and honorable mention. And then with the conference teams, you got all defense, and then you got freshman teams. You have freshman All-American as well. I'll get into those. But there's so many conferences. There's a lot of conferences. So I'm probably going to just do, I don't want to be biased, guys, because I don't have that much time and I'm crunched for time. So I'll probably just do Big 12, Big East, ACC, SEC, all the power. They're not called the Power Five in basketball, but all the major conferences, I'm going to do their all conference teams for men's and women's. That's going to take up a lot of time. So I'll probably do that next week along with All-Americans. I won't go into detail. I will just give you guys names and school, probably class affiliation, whether a freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. I'll do freshman All-American for men and women's. Hopefully that's out by then. And then I'll do regular All-Americans, and then I'll do the conference teams. So I'll break that down. Hopefully I can break that down. If not, I'll probably do it in segments throughout March. So if I'm not able to do it all in one show, which might be very difficult, I might just break that down into segments in March, because next week we will be talking about the brackets for women's and men's brackets. And that's probably going to take some time as well. So this is the game plan. So this is what I'm hoping. If the All-American teams are out by then, I will do All-American teams for freshmen, men's and women's, and then regular All-American teams for men's and women's. And then we'll talk about the bracket, because I'm doing March Madness bracket with me, Ben, Ethan, and Michael are doing that on Sunday, on Selection Sunday. We're going to have a live reaction to Selection Sunday. So I'll be talking about that already. And like I told you guys before, I don't like to talk about the same things over and over again. So on different platforms. So since I'm doing March Madness on Sunday, I might, well, the Selection Sunday on Sunday, I might just do, I'll do the All-Americans. And then the next week, games will have started. So games will have started for men's and women's. I'll talk about games, and then I'll sprinkle in conference, all conference teams. But I will get out those all conference teams done. It's just I'm going to have to sprinkle those in. But if the All-American teams have not been selected yet, if they have not been picked, I will do conference, all conference selections, because those will be picked before All-American teams are picked, I believe. So either or. If All-Americans are not out yet, I'll do the conference, and I'll try to do as many conferences as I can in an hour, because I'm trying to squeeze down the show for an hour. If I'm not able to do that, I'll pick it back up, and then I'm going to do All-Americans, because All-Americans won't take that long. It's more conferences than All-Americans. You get 5 on one team, 5 on another team, and then your honorable mentions for men's and women's. But they do have coaches in AP. So there are 2 different All-American teams. So what I'll do is I'll get on my iPad and I'll compare if coaches had a different All-American team than the Associated Press. I do remember that. So there are different All-American teams. I think USA Today has their All-Americans, and then the coaches have their All-Americans. So that should take up some time, but it's not as much as conferences. So I'll go women's, men's, women's, men's, women's, men's. I'll go back and forth, and I will let you guys know, hey, this is the women's All-Americans first team. This is the men's All-Americans first team, and et cetera, et cetera. So you guys will not be confused. All right. That was a mouthful. That was a mouthful for me, but today I want to talk about conference tournaments. So I told you guys last week, the women started last week, and some of the men started last week as well. And then the men's and women's are in full stride right now. Conference tournaments, because Selection Sunday is coming up on us. So there have been some upsets. There have been some upsets, and I'm not shocked. I'm not surprised. We had some buzzer beaters. We had a buzzer beater today. Virginia beat Syracuse, who is now in the ACC. Beat them on a buzzer beater. And Virginia, I think, is the number 1 seed in the ACC, because Florida State's number 2 seed. Duke had to cancel their ACC tournament, so they probably won't be going to the NCAA tournament. But I will take a look at bracketology for women's and men's. I'm going to do women's first. So let's look at the bracketology for women's first. All right. Let's see. Let's go to ESPN.com. I have so many tabs up, and I get so confused about the tabs that I have up. OU is playing right now. Oh, it looks like they're going to take a L. Let's go to women's. Give me bracketology. Let's see what Charlie Cream. Okay, Charlie Cream updated this today. He updated this today. So here we go. Top overall seed is Stanford. First team out, Notre Dame. Last team in, Mississippi State. First 4 out, Notre Dame, Ole Miss, BYU. Ole Miss's coach has got a extension for your extension. Congratulations to her. Notre Dame, Ole Miss, BYU, and Oklahoma. Come on, Sooners. You got to do something in the Big 12 tournament to get in, I believe. Last 4 in, DePaul, Wake Forest, UCF, Mississippi State. Mississippi State took an early exit from the SEC tournament. They got upset. So I'm wondering how Charlie Cream is feeling about that. I wonder why he has them last 4 ins thus far. All right, next 4 out, Seton Hall, Houston, LSU, and Miami. So those are his last 4 out. Okay, looks like they have the regions named. So we got the Alamo region, the Mercado region, the Riverwalk region, and the Hemisphere region. It's played in San Antonio. If you guys don't know that Texas has lifted their mask mandate, but for the NCAA tournament, all the COVID protocols will be in place. So if you're going down to volunteer in San Antonio for the NCAA tournament, all COVID protocols will be in place, even though their governor, which I think our governor lifted our mask mandate as well, has lifted the mask mandate. So if you're going down there, just be safe and be careful. Let's look at the number 1 overall seeds, number 2, number 3, and number 4, which is the top 16. I'm going to do number 1s first. We got Stanford, we got UConn, we got South Carolina, we got A&M. All right, let's look at number 2s. We have Louisville, we have Baylor, and then we have NC State, and we have Maryland. Number 3s, Georgia, Indiana, Arizona, UCLA. Number 4s, we have Kentucky, Tennessee, West Virginia, and Arkansas. So those are your top 16 teams in the tournament thus far. Now, they could change. I think the number 1s are going to stay number 1 because they all won their conference tournaments. Stanford won the Pac-12. Shout out to Stanford. They beat UCLA. Connecticut blew the brakes off Marquette for their conference tournament. South Carolina beat A&M in their conference tournament, so they're both number 1 overall seeds. Baylor still has to play theirs on the Big 12. Let me see, they're number 2 seed right now. Louisville has already played theirs in the ACC. Number 2 seed, NC State, played theirs in the ACC. And then Maryland, I think it's Big 10. The Big 10 is currently playing, if I'm not mistaken. All right. Now, let's see conference champions for the women. I already told you guys the Pac-12 and the SEC and also the Big East. Let's look and see who those teams played. So Maryland won today. They beat Nebraska in the quarterfinal in the Big Ten tournament. Michigan State women upset Indiana. Indiana's the top 16 seed. They upset Indiana 69-61 today. Northwestern upset Michigan 65-49. Jacksonville, this is the Big Ten tournament. Those 3 games I just said were a Big Ten tournament. Oh, thank you, Michael. I'll hold my bet. Michael says he loved that UK shirt. I'm gonna keep that on for a little bit. I'm gonna keep that on. Thanks, Michael. In the Atlantic Sun Championship, Jacksonville played Florida Gulf Coast. Florida Gulf Coast won that game. Tonight we have Iowa. If you have not watched Caitlin Clark play, go watch her play. We have Iowa and Rutgers. And then in the Athletic Conference Championship final, we have UCF and South Florida. Now, here's the thing about March Madness. Here's how, if you're on the bubble, you don't want to be on the bubble with other teams left to play. Because if a team that is necessarily not on the radar and they upset somebody, guess what? One of those teams on the bubble gets knocked off. So say, for instance, if a team on the bubble won their conference tournament, right, and they beat the number 2, number 3 overall seed in the conference, that team is going to get in. So guess what that does? That knocks another team out. So you do not want to be on the bubble and be done playing. You don't want that, because that just causes March Madness and causes chaos. But those are scores from today. Let's look at Wednesday. South Florida beat Tulane in a semifinal. Gonzaga won the WCC for the women's, and they won it for the men's as well. Spoiler alert. They beat BYU 42-43. South Florida beat Wichita State to get to the American Conference Championship semifinal, I believe. No, are they in the final? To get to the final. Where they beat them to get to the quarters and then semis, and then now they're in the final. Let's look at Tuesday. I looked at Tuesday already. Let's look at Monday. Yeah, UConn all over Marquette, 73-39 in the Big East final. Of course, Gonzaga beat St. Clara to get to the WCC final. Okay, on Sunday. NC State knocked off Louisville. So NC State's your ACC champ. Both of those teams in the top 16. Of course, you guys know Stanford beat UCLA by 20 in the Pac-12 championship. And then in the SEC championship, Georgia lost to South Carolina. Now, Georgia upset A&M. They upset A&M, which you want me to be honest, I didn't see that coming. I didn't see that coming at all. A&M is one of the hottest teams in the country. I did not see A&M losing to Georgia in the semifinal. And of course, Tennessee played South Carolina in the other semifinal in the SEC. Didn't see that coming. So congratulations to Georgia for upsetting Gary Blair and Texas A&M. And then they got to the final and lost to South Carolina. Let me see. In South Carolina and Tennessee play, South Carolina handled Tennessee 67-52. Let's see what else we got. Villanova upset DePaul on Sunday in the Big East quarterfinal. But of course, we know that UConn won that conference championship. So there's upsets all over the place. And like I said, I picked South Carolina to win the national championship last year. I'm picking them again this year. A little biased, but not a little biased. They just got the Naismith Player of the Year. She committed to South Carolina. She signed, but she won Naismith Player of the Year. She's number 2 recruit in the country, so they just got her. Dawn Staley is killing it on the recruitment trail. But I like the upsets. I like the March Madness. I love it, especially in women's college basketball, because you don't get it that often. Men's, you see it more. Women's, you don't see it so much. And I talked about that at the very beginning when I was talking about women's college basketball. I love seeing upsets. I love seeing the camaraderie of rivals. My mom just arrived. Let me close my door. My dog just barked. Mom is here. Okay. I love seeing that rivalry, and say, for instance, if a Big 12, let's say you get Baylor and Texas in the Sweet 16 matchup, I would love to see that. A lot of people don't want to see that, but I would love to see that because they play each other twice a year. So that third time is either going to break the series open because series would be tied 1-1 if it's a tie, or it's hard to beat a team 3 times. So I like seeing that. I don't know why. I like seeing that. But I also like seeing the little guys upset the big guys. I like seeing the little giants upset the big giants. So there's so many things about March Madness that I love. There's really nothing I don't like about March Madness. And somebody said on Twitter today, I'll take March Madness over the NBA. And I'm just being honest with you. I don't think I'm going to miss a game of March Madness. I haven't watched much NBA, but I've been watching college basketball very heavy, trying to keep up with it, of course, to inform you guys of what's going on. But I have to get back into the NBA. They had an all-star break that they didn't really want. And people have mixed feelings about the NBA, how they felt about the all-star weekend and things like that. But I won't get into that. This is about March Madness, baby. I love it. Women's and men's. I love it. There he goes barking again. I love it. Women's and men's. I love it from both sides. In the women's game, like I said before, I think there are 8 teams that could win it all. I really do. Let me look at the standings. Let me look at the standings. Let's look at the top 25 for this week. Let's see. Ranking. No, rankings. Here we go. All right. I don't think it's changed. Because South Carolina is still 5 and Texas A&M is still ahead. I don't know if it's changed. Okay, we got UConn, Stanford, NC State, Texas A&M, South Carolina, Baylor, Maryland, Louisville. I guess, are Maryland and Louisville tied? I don't know. Indiana, UCLA, Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, Tennessee, Arkansas, Gonzaga, West Virginia, Kentucky, Rutgers, South Florida, Missouri State, Ohio State, Oregon, Florida Gulf Coast, and South Dakota State. They don't have a number by Louisville in the AP Top 25. I don't know if they're tied or not, but we'll just say Louisville's number 8. So there are 8 teams. Those top 8 teams, I think, could win it all. I think Louisville, Maryland, Baylor, South Carolina, Texas A&M, NC State, Stanford, and UConn all have a chance of winning it all. In the men's, it's kind of clear cut. I mean, a lot of people are saying it. A lot of people are like, okay, it's Gonzaga, Michigan, Baylor, everybody else. Even Ohio State's taken a couple of tough losses in the men's. We'll talk about that in a minute. But in the women's, I think there's 8 teams. I think there's 8 teams that can win it. Now, could we have some upsets? I would love it. Let's say if Arkansas goes on a crazy run with those 2 guards that they have and they win it all. I wouldn't mind that. Tennessee, see if they can win it, have a chance of winning it all. Somebody like Kentucky, you never know. Rain Howard can get hot in the tournament and fireworks can happen for Kentucky. You just never know. You never know when it comes to March Madness. And I'm so excited to be talking about March Madness. And I'm so excited for March Madness to be here. If you guys don't know, it's the year anniversary of the shutdown. So where were you this time last year when you found out that the NBA was going to be null and void? I think it was the Oklahoma City game against Utah. I'm correct because I was streaming on that on StreamYard and boom. Conference tournaments for college basketball, they didn't know what to do. They were still kind of playing them a little bit. They didn't know what to do. The WCC got through for the men's and the women's. There were conference tournaments starting and then boom, all of a sudden, nothing. So this day is a very special day in history. We will all remember this day. Everybody on Twitter is talking about it. Where were you when this happened? I was streaming the Oklahoma City Thunder and Utah game. I was trying to figure out what was going on. We couldn't figure it out. And then boom. I was preparing streams for college. I was still doing college stuff. And then boom. So great day, crazy day, weird day, not so great day to think about where you were when that happened. All right, guys, that is it for the women's. Let's turn our attention to the men's. Now, Selection Sunday, we all know that it's going to be huge. I shared some news with you guys before. Duke had a positive test within their basketball team. They had to cancel against FSU, so FSU moves on. Kentucky was upset by Mississippi State today. I don't think Duke or Kentucky will get in. Let's look at bracketology. Let's look at this. Let's see what Joe Lunardi thinks. I think we're on the same page. This was updated yesterday. So I think me and Joe Lunardi are on the same page. Gonzaga, number 1 overall seed, of course. First team out, Utah State. Last team in, Syracuse. And they had a heartbreaker today. They did. On the bubble, last 4 buys. Michigan State, VCU, Georgia Tech, and Louisville. Louisville lost to Duke yesterday, so I don't know how that's going to work. Last 4 in, Drake, Boise State, Colorado State, Syracuse. Heartbreaker today for Syracuse. First 4 out, Utah State, St. Louis, Xavier, Memphis. Next 4 out, Ole Miss, Duke. I don't think they'll get in. Seton Hall and St. John's. So that's going to be tough. So here's the first 4 bracket. This is what this looks like. St. Peter's, North Carolina A&T, both 16 seeds. We got Drake and Colorado State, both 12 seeds. They will play each other, of course. Appalachian State, Mount St. Mary's, 2 16 seeds. Boise State and Syracuse, 12 seeds. So Mount St. Mary's and Syracuse would play each other. Appalachian State and Boise would play each other. St. Peter's and Drake would play each other. And North Carolina A&T and Colorado State would play each other. If I'm thinking correctly, that's how it's done because those are the first 4 games. 16 plays 12. Yeah, those are the first 4 games. All right, the guys haven't named their region yet, but let's look at the top 16. I don't think it's going to change. Even if Baylor loses the Big 12, they played today. They beat K-State tonight. Well, earlier today. I don't think they will lose a number 1 seed. They only have 1 loss the whole season, so we'll see. We got Gonzaga, Baylor, Illinois, Michigan, number 1 seeds. Number 2 seeds, we got Ohio State, Iowa, Alabama and Houston. Shout out to Alabama for winning the SEC regular season title. We got Kansas, Arkansas, number 3 seeds. Texas, West Virginia. West Virginia lost to Oklahoma State today. I'll talk about that. Number 4 seeds, we have Purdue, Virginia. Virginia had that squeaker they got. And then we have Villanova. Villanova was upset today. Villanova and Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State got a huge win. I think Oklahoma State's going to climb in those rankings because they did beat West Virginia. And I think they'll be playing either Kansas or Baylor next. I think they play Baylor next. Kansas is currently playing OU. The last time that I checked, did not look good for my Sooners. So it looks like Kansas will be moving on to play the winner of Texas and Texas Tech. So those are your top 16 teams for the men's. Now, let me look at the rankings. I'm going to look at the men's rankings and see if anything has changed for the men. Let's see, rankings. Give me rankings. Come on, ESPN. There we go. All right, let's look at it. We got Gonzaga, Baylor, Illinois, Michigan, Iowa, Alabama, Houston, Arkansas, Ohio State, West Virginia, Kansas, Oklahoma State, Texas. Those are 4 Big 12 teams in the top 15 right there. Well, actually 5 Big 12 teams in the top 15. Villanova, Florida State, Virginia, Creighton, Loyola, Chicago, San Diego State, Texas Tech, Purdue, Virginia Tech, Colorado, USC, and Oklahoma. Oklahoma's been on a bad losing streak. They'll get in a tournament, but they've been on a bad losing streak here lately. And I don't like that. I don't. So remember when I told you guys that there are certain teams that have separated themselves? I thoroughly believe that Gonzaga, Baylor, and Michigan have separated themselves. Yes, Michigan lost to Illinois, but I still think they're in that cream of the crop. Could we see a team like Houston ruffle some feathers? Yeah. Could we see a team like Alabama ruffle some feathers? Yes. Ohio State, maybe. Yes. Kansas State with Cunningham. Yes. They are allowed to participate in the 2021 NCAA tournament. I thought they had a tournament ban. I could have sworn they had one, but I got on there and I read it back in January. So it says that they are allowed to play. So that was my mistake. Could Kansas possibly make a run? Maybe. How are we feeling about Villanova? They lost one of their key players. I talked about it last week to an MCL injury. That's tough. But I believe in Jay Wright when it comes tournament time. I believe in Jay Wright. Florida State, Leonard Hamilton. Shout out to Leonard Hamilton. He signed a 5-year extension. Could Florida State make some noise? Absolutely. If I were to pick a team to upset one of those top dogs, the Gonzaga, the Baylors, the Michigans, I would probably put out of all these teams, out of all the top 25 teams, minus Gonzaga, Baylor, and Michigan, which are the top dogs, I would pick Florida State. Leonard Hamilton has a way of willing his teams to win. They do it with defense. They do it with athleticism. Duke used to struggle against Florida State because Duke cannot handle athleticism very well. They haven't been able to play well against athleticism for a while, and I don't understand why, but Florida State would give Duke fits in conference play. If I had to choose a team to upset one of these big dogs, it would be Florida State. Let's see whose bracket Florida State is in. Let's go ahead and look at that since I'm talking about Florida State. Let's see whose bracket they are in. They are in, hold on, wait a minute. Where is Florida State? They got to be a 5 seed. Florida, let me look at my 5 seeds. Texas Tech, Colorado. They are in the bracket with Gonzaga. They're in Gonzaga's bracket. So, the only way that could happen, let's see, Florida State will play either Drake or Colorado State. They move on, boom. And then they will play the winner of Purdue, University of California, Santa Barbara, boom. And then they win that game. They would go on to play Gonzaga if they win all their games. So that would be a Sweet 16 matchup. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That would be a Sweet 16 matchup with Gonzaga if this played out right. Because when you win, yeah, that would be a Sweet 16 matchup with Gonzaga. So if these brackets stay the same, which they could change, they stay the same as they are presented right now, Florida State would play Gonzaga in a Sweet 16. And that would be a very good game. That'd be a good game. Now, if they moved on from that, they would play either Oregon, Louisville, Kansas, Grand Canyon, San Diego State, Maryland, Ohio State, or Drexel. I like their chances against any of those teams. So, say for instance, they move on past that. That's the elite. That would be the Elite Eight. So now that you've won your region, you are in the Final Four, baby, and their matchup will be against, I think, Baylor. No, their matchup will be against either the Illinois bracket. So bracket 4, 1 and 4, 2 and 3. That's right. So either be Illinois, Appalachian State / St. Mary's, Loyola Chicago, North Carolina, Texas Tech, Boise State / Syracuse, Villanova, UNCG, USC, Wichita State, shout out to Wichita State for getting in, Texas, Colgate, BYU, Rutgers, Alabama, Nicholls State. So I like Florida State's chances. Yes, they're in the same bracket with Gonzaga. If they get to Gonzaga, it would be in a Sweet 16 according to this bracket. Like I said, this bracket could be different. You never know. But do I like their chances? Yes. If I could pick any team to ruffle those top teams, I am going to pick Leonard Hamilton. I'm going to pick Florida State. These brackets stay the same, and they play Gonzaga in the Sweet 16. If Gonzaga makes it there, let's just talk about that. This is March Madness. Then I would pick Florida State to win it. Now, would I bet my house on it? I'm not quite sure. But I trust in Leonard Hamilton. I think Florida State's going to make a deep run. They would have made a deep run last year. Remember, I talked to you guys about upsets. Let's see what happened in the men's game. There's some scores going on right now. Let's talk about today. Let me get to today's scores for men's, and then I'll talk about things that happened during the week. Right now, we have North Carolina and Virginia Tech in the quarterfinal. North Carolina's trying to make their run. Right now, Virginia Tech's up 3. Like I said before, Kansas State played Baylor. Baylor won that one. Minnesota, that was in the Big 12 quarterfinal. Minnesota played Ohio State in the Big 10 second round. Ohio State barely got out of that one, 79-75. Oklahoma State, I guess you can call it an upset of West Virginia. Upset West Virginia in the quarterfinal Big 12 championship, 72-69. OU scored 15 points in the first half because against Iowa State, they had a 19-point lead and pretty much gave it up and used all their legs to try to stay in the game, that happens. And Kansas ran them off the floor in the first half. Kansas was up 35-15 at the end of the first half. OU scored 47 points in the second half. Kansas scored 34. So 20 minus 13 is 7. So OU lost by 7, 62-69. A valiant second half effort. Shout out to Georgetown. Shout out to Patrick Ewing. They upset Villanova 72-71 in the Big East tournament quarterfinal. Of course, the Duke and Florida State game is uncontested, so they move on. I talked about this before. Syracuse had a heartbreaker against Virginia. They had a heartbreaker, 72-69. Creighton beat Butler 56-87. That is the Big East tournament quarterfinal. Of course, the Virginia-Syracuse is the ACC. Wyoming got beat by some good free throw shooting at the end for San Diego State in the Mountain West Championship quarterfinal, 69-66, which San Diego State is probably already in the tournament anyway. Utah and USC play tonight at 7:30 Central, so they should be getting ready to tip right now because it's about 7:50, so they should be playing right now actually. Utah and USC tonight for the Pac-12 quarterfinal. In the Big 12, important game, Texas Tech and Texas. That winner plays Kansas at 8:30 on ESPN2. California plays Colorado, the Pac-12 quarterfinals tonight at 10:30. So there's some good games going on for the men's as well. I'm going to look back. Gonzaga did win the WCC, guys. They did win that this week. Let's look back at Wednesday. Oklahoma barely got by Iowa State. And I mean barely. They were up 19. They were up 19 at one point on Iowa State. And Iowa State has not won a game in conference. They're 2-22, and Oklahoma made their game harder than what it had to be. That's why in the first half, they came out, only scored 15 points against Kansas. Valiant effort to come back in their game, make it respectable, but their game shouldn't have been close with Iowa State. So that's what you get, your legs. You're playing back-to-back days. Gonzaga beat BYU on Tuesday, 88-78. BYU made their respectable. I wonder if BYU will get in. We will see. On Monday, Gonzaga beat St. Mary's in the semifinal. On Sunday, here's what's some upsets in the Big Ten. There was an upset in the Big Ten. Michigan lost to Michigan State. I still think Michigan is one of the top teams in the country. I still think they're one of those big dogs that someone's going to have to knock off. Michigan lost to Michigan State, in-state rival. I don't know if Michigan State gets in. They're going to have some work to do in their Big Ten tournament. Texas Tech lost to Baylor by 15. Wisconsin lost to Iowa by 4. Iowa's making that run you need to make. Memphis lost to Houston. Texas beat TCU. And in a MVC tournament final, Loyola Chicago beat Drake. Now, Drake is one of those teams that's in a playing game. And Loyola Chicago, of course, they're ranked in the top 25, so they're automatically in. Let me look at Saturday. What we have kind of action out Saturday. We had a good game between Illinois and Ohio State. Oklahoma State upset West Virginia. So Oklahoma State beat West Virginia back-to-back. Very tough to do. Bob Huggins' teams are very good, very disciplined. Alabama beat Georgia. Providence upset Villanova. So Villanova has dealt with 2 upsets in the past 7 days. Providence upset them, and then Georgetown upset them in the Big East tournament. Notre Dame upset Florida State last week, but I don't think they're going to get in. They got hammered by North Carolina in the ACC conference tournament. Arkansas beat Texas A&M. Texas A&M men haven't played very many games. Creighton beat Butler. In the semifinal, Loyola Chicago beat Indiana State. In the MVC semifinal, Virginia beat Louisville. Purdue beat Indiana. And then Virginia Tech and NC State got canceled on Saturday. So, guys, what it's looking like to me is that March Madness is going to be filled this year. No, there aren't going to be very many blue bloods in the tournament. I think the only blue bloods that will be in the tournament, let's look at the bracketology. And I'm looking at blue bloods. I'm looking at the North Carolinas, the Dukes, the Michigan States, the Kentuckys, the Kansases of the world. So Michigan State has a last 4 bye. So they can make their case in that Big Ten tournament this week. We'll see. Duke is next 4 out. I don't think Duke's getting in. They didn't get to play Florida State, which wasn't their fault necessarily per se, but they did not do enough in the regular season to get in. North Carolina's going on that run. I think North Carolina will be in. I think they're in now. So they're in right now, I believe. North Carolina is. Kentucky, you lost to Mississippi State in the SEC tournament. So I don't think Kentucky will get in. I'm trying to think. I don't know. I don't see it. Only blue blood I see in, 2 blue bloods I see in, 3, possibly 3, are Kansas, Michigan State, and North Carolina. Let me see where North Carolina's a 9 seed right now, so I think they'll get in. Duke is not going to get in, and Kentucky's not going to get in. So now I will say this. COVID had something to do with the way Duke played. They've had people step away because of COVID. Kentucky just has not played well at all this season. They started off rough, which they always do, because you get those freshmen that have to buy into Calipari's system. And then Kentucky just did not go on that hot streak that we know Kentucky to go on. A lot of young guys, a lot of one and dones at Kentucky. Some of those guys I thought should have played in the G League. Honestly, I don't think they should have went to Kentucky, but that's not my decision to make. I thought they should have played in the G League. Some of those guys should have went to Kentucky, and I'm glad they did. For Duke, when you go to Duke, you go to Kentucky, you're like, okay, I'm going to play one season. I'm going to make a run at a Final Four, and then I'm going to go make my money. This year has been weird. This year has been unprecedented. So crazy things have happened, but those blue bloods will not be in. Michael, I'm sorry, but you can cheer for the Kentucky women. Duke women's canceled their season altogether. So if you have any Duke fans out there, the women canceled their season a long time ago. It's tough to kind of judge, the March Madness. But the thing about it is the players you put out there have to perform. And Taylor Rooks said it best. I retweeted this from Taylor Rooks. Let me go back to my Twitter because I retweeted it and I thought it was amazing. I thought it was an amazing tweet. Taylor Rooks says, bracing myself to be super annoyed with every person who says this college basketball season is weird and didn't count because some blue bloods didn't make it. I believe that to be so true. Yes, this basketball season has been weird. Yes, last season we didn't have a March Madness tournament. But you are putting out, even if you don't get the commits you want, you're still putting out 5-star talent out there on the court. You still have to play with the team you have. So I agree with Taylor Rooks. You're going to get those people, oh, this didn't count, COVID. Oh, this didn't count because the G League started their new league. That doesn't matter. Those players decided to go to the G League last season. So, and the G League had their final today too. I'll talk about that just a little bit. It doesn't matter. You're still putting out the top talent on the floor. So what? You didn't get 2, 3, maybe 2 5-star recruits, maybe, if that. You still have 2 or 3 on your roster. So these teams that did not make it because they didn't win the games, they just didn't win the games. You have to win games. Duke and Kentucky is playing a type of schedule that gets them in without their conference schedules because they're playing games against these top teams early. They're testing their young guns early, and they just didn't make it. So I agree with Taylor Rooks. You're gonna get those out there. Oh, it didn't count. Like the finals last year when the Lakers won it. Oh, that didn't matter. Oh, yeah, the Heat got there. But they wouldn't have got there if it was a regular season. Blah, 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 blah. I don't want to hear all that. I don't want to hear. You're an athlete. You go out there and you perform, period. That's all I have to say about that. So shout out to Taylor Rooks for putting that tweet out. I agree with that tweet wholeheartedly because you're going to get people that say, oh, it didn't count, blah, blah, blah. It counts. It counts. Some teams have canceled their seasons on the women's side. Duke's season is gone altogether. You should have won games. You should have won games. And you should have beat North Carolina instead of getting blown out the last time you played them. And North Carolina is playing their tails off right now for Roy Williams, and they are up by 3 against Virginia Tech. Let's see if any other games have tipped. Why hasn't this Utah USC game tipped? It is 7:30. It is past 7:30. Why hasn't that game tipped yet? Let's see. Why hasn't it tipped yet? Let me see, guys. This USC and Utah game should have started by now because it is 7:30 my time, unless it's on a different day. No, it's not on a different day. It's right now. So I wonder why. Let me click on Gamecast and see why it hasn't started yet. 7:30 Central. It is 8 o'clock Central, and the game still has not started yet. Huh, that's interesting. That's very interesting. You get Texas Tech in Texas at 8:30 my time, which is in about 30 minutes. They're going to tip off. And then after Utah and USC in that quarterfinal, you get California and Colorado in that quarterfinal. I wonder why that game hasn't started yet. The line is USC 7.5-point favorite. The line for Big 12 is Texas Tech 1.5-point favorite. That's very interesting. I want to give you guys the score of that game, but it hasn't tipped yet, and that is very odd. Iowa and Rutgers women just tipped. So if you want to watch Caitlin Clark play, go to FS2, which is Fox Sports Network, the second channel. They are tipping right now. She's playing right now. She will more than likely be a freshman All-American, and she will also be a regular All-American as well. If you have not seen Caitlin Clark play, go watch her play. She gets buckets. She does it all for Iowa. I really hope they make it into the tournament because I really want to see her play in March Madness just to kind of see what kind of buckets she can get. All right, guys, March Madness is here. It's here. It's in full throttle, full swing. I'm super excited. You guys cannot tell by my voice. I'm super excited. My Sooners will be in it for the men's. I'm hoping they get in for the women's. They're going to have to do some work in the Big 12 tournament to get in, which starts tomorrow, I believe. It should. The Big 12 women's tournament. Let's see. I say it should start tomorrow because Selection Sunday is upon us. And yeah, let's see. It has to start tomorrow on Friday. Come on, computer. Come on, iPad. I'm going to see what tournament, the Big 12 tournament has to start tomorrow. I know I'm not going crazy. Okay. Here we go. Yes, the quarterfinals start tomorrow. Baylor and West Virginia got those byes. And then on Saturday, yes, and then Sunday will be the final. Okay, the Big 12 starts tomorrow. I'm excited about that. I'll be watching that. Let me look at the schedule and see. Let me get on my phone and see when OU plays. Big 12. So the first round happened today. Kansas and TCU. TCU beat Kansas. Then we got Kansas State and Texas Tech play at 8 o'clock. That's tonight. Tomorrow, Texas plays Iowa State in the quarterfinal. Baylor to be announced. They have a bye. West Virginia to be announced. They have a bye. Top two seeds, of course, need a bye. Oklahoma and Oklahoma State. Play tomorrow. Now, that is something I'm going to have to watch. Bedlam in the conference tournament. So, the winner of Texas, Iowa State plays Baylor. The winner of Oklahoma, Oklahoma State plays West Virginia. Oklahoma upset West Virginia earlier this season. So, Sooners need to beat Oklahoma State to get in. They're the first four out. So, Charlie Cream has them as the first four out. They beat Oklahoma State and beat West Virginia and get to that Big 12 final, which is very, very possible. Then we can do some talking. Then we can do some talking about them getting into the tournament. So OU can have a men's and women's team in the tournament, even though OU took an early exit this season in the Big 12 tournament, their second game, but they will be in. All right, guys, that's it for the show. We'll be talking about March Madness next week. Now, a reminder of next week, my show is going to be as follows. Either it's going to be All-Americans or it's going to be conference teams. So I'll talk a little bit about who won the men's tournaments for their conferences. I'll talk a little bit about that because I don't know how much time I'll have. Then I'll get into the good stuff. I'll get into the All-American teams or the conference tournament teams. I might talk about the bracket. I might just say the bracket in the region because I'm going to talk about March Madness with Ben, Ethan, and Michael on Sunday. Stay tuned for that, guys, on Twitter. If you follow me on Twitter, I'll be retweeting it. We'll be promoting the heck out of it. So you guys can check out that show with us. We'll have a good time talking about March Madness. So that's what next week's show is going to be. I'm excited. I'm super excited. I'll talk about the women's bracket. I'll talk about the men's bracket, not very much because I don't know how much time I'll have. And then we'll get into those teams. Some names you guys might not know, some names you might know. Make All-American teams and all-conference teams if time allows. If not, I'll sprinkle the conference teams in or the All-American teams in on other shows. But for about 4 or 5 shows straight, we're talking nothing but March Madness. I'll get back into the NBA when this ends. I'll get back into the NBA, and then the NFL draft will be coming up. So I'll be talking about the NFL draft. So after March Madness / April Madness, because you have you're going to be playing in April if you make it to the finals, I'll be talking WNBA free agency, of course. I'll be talking, because their season will be getting ready to start, hopefully. WNBA free agency, NFL news and draft, and then NBA stuff. So that'll be the kind of the show I'll be going in a direction in. Also, we'll talk about who declared and who hasn't declared for men's and women. Well, women's is a little different. Actually, yeah, it's a little different how to declare for men's and women's. Let me think. I think that's it. I think that's all I'll cover. And then in summertime, we'll just find some things because the summertime is rough because that's usually baseball season, but the Olympics will be happening. The NBA will still be playing in the summertime. The WNBA will be playing in the summertime. So it'll be a lot of WNBA talk in the summer. But I'm just going to give you guys the schedule of what I'm going to be doing here after March Madness / April Madness ends. All right, let's promo. Let's talk about some promos. Let's pay some bills. Teespring.com/store/unwrapped. Get all your Unwrapped Sports Network gear here. Live lineup gear as well. I didn't wear my live lineup gear because I lost my bet, if you guys did not know. So check it out. Here's my gear here. Backstop Banter goes on in about an hour, which is 9 Central, 10 Eastern, or 10:15-ish Eastern. Well, Michael and Connie, they're getting ready to go on. So check out the gear at teespring.com/store/unwrapped. Also, sore, achy muscles, you're a newfound athlete, you don't know how to stretch properly and things like that, you sleep wrong, whatever you're doing with your body, rxhemp.com. Use the code rxhemp.com/USN and get 10% off your entire order. Warm and cool therapy here for you guys. Be careful on how you use it. I'm not sure how these milligrams work, but do your research first. That's all I have to say about that. Natural, they're made with all natural ingredients, and celebrities have stood by it. They've had testimonies. So go check that out. Also, we have betting, a lot of betting. Like I told you guys before, the March Madness bracket is out. We got NBA games came back. NBA came back yesterday. So you can bet on NBA again, and March Madness, and baseball, and the Grammys, and football. I love seeing that. MLB, NHL. It's just so much. And these betting lines change all the time. Check out mybookie.ag. Use the code USN100 to double your first deposit. All right, last promotion of the night. We have the Patreon. Yes, the Patreon. Be a fan for $1 a month. Be family for $5 a month, and you get all these cool things that come with it. Be VIP for $10 a month, and you get all these cool things that come with it. Support the Unwrapped Sports Network in the Patreon. $1 a month, $5 a month, or $10 a month. Go to patreon.com/unwrappedsports and become a part of our family. All right, guys, that's it for this week. Thank you so much. A little late start tonight, but we got through it. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. I will see you guys next week with more March Madness.